We're getting deep, y'all. We're getting deep. What's up, you guys? Welcome to my channel. I'm Olivia, and today we're going to be doing a little Q&A, getting to know me better while creating this beautiful Valentine's Day makeup look. So whether you're a returning subscriber or a new viewer, I welcome you to my channel. I hope you stick around and enjoy getting to know me a little bit better. Please don't forget to like and comment on this video, as well as subscribe so you can stay tuned and see the amazing goodies that I have coming out on my channel soon. And yeah, let's get started. I realized I've had my channel for 2 years. Yes, YouTube told me the other day that my channel is 2 years old, and I'm like, I never did like an introductory kind of video for you guys, so that's what we're doing. So you guys see I have my red on already, looking very festive. I tried to grab like the first most red thing that I have in my closet, and this was it. It's just this red dress that I got recently. So I'm basically interviewing myself. I came up with a super detailed prompt to get ChatGPT to ask me some questions that I think you guys would want to know. I did have to tweak my prompt a little bit, had to remove some things, had to specify some things. I think we're good now though. I took a quick glimpse at the questions, but I don't know what they all are. So they're ranging in like super basic to super in-depth. So let's see what AI is gonna ask me. So we have our skincare headband on. I prepped my skin last night, so we're working with some nice moisturized skin today. I have my monitor off to the side with my questions, my mirror here. Let's go. I'm gonna start by priming with the Milk Makeup Hydrogrip primer. This one is very popular. I still have the little mini. I'm just doing 2 small pumps. So sometimes I'll forget to prime my makeup, prime my skin, and I want to get more into the habit of remembering that. So our first question is, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're from? I am Olivia. I am originally from New York. I always say, like, sometimes I leave it in my videos, sometimes I cut it out, but I'm always like, I wonder if you guys know that I'm from New York City to be exact. However, I currently live in Atlanta, Georgia. So I am from Queens, was born in the Bronx, but moved to Queens as a baby. So I rep Queens, and I lived in Queens until I was starting high school. When it was time for me to go to high school, that's when my family and we all moved down to Georgia. We moved to the Metro Atlanta area and lived there for years. I went to high school there. I went to college in Georgia, not in Atlanta, but I went to college in Georgia. And then right after college, I moved back to New York because I missed it. Like, I felt like I was missing out on the opportunity to live a New York life. So yeah, I moved back a few months after graduating college. The next thing we're gonna do is color correct using the NARS Radiant Creamy Color Corrector. This one, I don't know if they still sell it. I'm holding on tight to this thing. I love it so much. Don't mind the messiness, but it's this red color corrector. It's essentially a concealer. I would say it's like a thin formula concealer. But if you are my shade or darker and you have any hyperpigmentation, specifically like stubborn hyperpigmentation, we're gonna leave that one. I was gonna get that one, but it's fine. If you have any stubborn hyperpigmentation, this is really good for covering it. So what you would do, and what I'm about to do, is I put this on my hyperpigmentation spots, whether it's my, like, I have melasma around my mouth, hyperpigmentation. I also have like some dark spots from old pimples. I also have like a random, I think I have some sun damage on my cheek. I really don't know, but I have like a slightly dark spot that I noticed sometime last year, and I think it's sun damage, but I'm not 100% sure, to be honest. So I use it on there, and then what we're gonna do after I blend this out is go over it with either concealer or with foundation. I just got brand new makeup brushes and I love them. I got like, it's a whole like 30 brushes, and it came with some makeup triangles, it came with makeup sponges, it came with like the tiny powder applicators, came with a lot, cleaning supplies, everything. So I'm obsessed. They're really nice brushes. I actually got them from TikTok shop, so if you're looking for a new makeup brush set, I can't link the specific items from TikTok shop here on YouTube. They just don't allow it. So you have to go to my TikTok profile and go to my showcase and you'll find it in there. Or watch one of my TikTok videos and it'll be linked there. By the way, this is in the shade Deep. I think it comes in only like 4 colors, so that's Deep. It's the dark red shade. So I'm taking an angled flat top brush and I'm just blending everything in. So yeah, I moved back to New York right after college and I lived there from 2014 until 2020. So when the panorama was happening, my lease was actually up. I was living in Brooklyn at the time. I was looking for places to live. I was having a little bit of trouble finding an apartment in New York, like in the areas that I wanted and something that would fit my budget. And I have a dog, so it made it even more difficult. So after many frustrations, many disappointments, because people were extremely, actually it is extreme, but I'll say I had 2 separate situations where people discriminated against me when it came to my apartment hunt. If you ever dealt with like discrimination or prejudice or anything like that, you know how like defeating it could feel. And that's where I was in that moment, and I just said, you know what, forget it. I'm just gonna go back to Georgia for the time being. It was supposed to be a temporary move. That was the end of 2020 and now we're at the beginning of 2025 and I'm still in Georgia. So for the longest I didn't even mean for that to be a heart. For the longest time I was telling all of my friends and family, like, I'm only gonna be here for a few months. I'm just like temporarily, you know, because we're in the middle of everything that's going on, I'm just taking advantage of that and moving back to Georgia. I'll be right back in New York in no time, blah, blah, blah. Then that turned into, okay, I'm just gonna be here for like the rest of the year. Then that turned into, okay, so I'm here for 2 years so far. I'm gonna be gone before you know it. And before I knew it, I blinked and it was 4 years going on 5. I will say initially I kind of was in a rush to get back to New York, but as time went by I was like, I'm kind of okay here. Do I want to stay here for the rest of my life? No. I've had my eye on moving for the longest, like whether that meant moving back to New York or moving somewhere else. I definitely wanted to move away from here. I still do. It's just I don't know, my priorities are definitely all over the place. Part of me feels connected and wanting to stay near my family because I have a lot of family now that lives in Georgia, but also the other part of me is like, you are your own person, and if you want to move to Timbuktu, move to Timbuktu, you know? So I will say I still do have that desire to move. It just isn't as strong as it once was. But I still am going to move eventually. I'm getting out of here. I'm getting out of here. Our next question. What sparked your interest in lifestyle, travel, beauty, skincare, and makeup? Okay, so I will, full transparency, ChatGPT doesn't automatically know that that's what I'm into. Like I said, I crafted a prompt that I knew would feed me questions that were applicable to me. So what sparked that interest or those interests? Honestly, I would just say being a girl. I feel like part of me has always been kind of a girly girl from the start, like forever, since I was a kid. It's just that sometimes I wouldn't delve into makeup. I would say I was always interested in it, but it was like, you know, like most girls, you just, oh yeah, I like makeup, that was it. But in more recent years, I feel like I've really just like owned in on it because, I don't know, life is short. Like, why not have fun? Play in makeup, get your skincare right. I've always had an interest in skincare, but now I take it way more seriously. I have so many skincare products that I like to try and experiment with. I like to find out what works for my skin and what doesn't. So yeah, and then as far as not so much lifestyle, because lifestyle applies for anything, but travel. I've always been interested in travel since I was a kid, always. My parents introduced me to travel when I was like, I think I went on my first plane ride when I was like 2, maybe 1 or 2. I went to Canada. But yeah, it's always just been an interest of mine. I was gonna put, first of all, I'm not putting concealer. I know I look crazy. I'm looking at myself in this viewfinder and I look insane. I was gonna put concealer on this and then go in with my foundation, but I'm gonna skip the concealer because I just don't think it's necessary for this look. We did blend out that color corrector pretty nicely, so we're just gonna go straight in with our foundation. Like a week ago or so, I posted a video on TikTok and I was asking for tips and tricks to improve my makeup application because I feel like my makeup comes out good but not great. Like my makeup is always giving beginner, and I got some good tips. One of them was don't apply the foundation to your brush, apply it like to your skin directly, which I see people do all the time. I just never did it. Like my foundation is pretty thick, which by the way, I need to get a new foundation because this is extremely old. Not too much on my foundation. I know y'all see all this makeup on the side. It's just a little messy, but this is old foundation. I'm using it till the wheels fall off because it's still my shade and it's not causing me any skin problems. So we are going to do one pump and one pump, and then we're going to spread that around. Now what I was doing was I was doing one pump on the brush and that's it, but people were like, you don't use enough makeup, like you need to add more, use more. So that's what I've started to do. You definitely want to make sure you're covering those red spots. You don't want that to be left behind, so don't forget to put makeup on those areas so that they're covered. My foundation is full coverage, so that's also why I really feel I can skip the concealer. Also, one thing that I don't do usually is I don't take my foundation up my forehead, but I see other people do it and it comes out fine. I do use bronzer, so I know, like, with the reason being I don't like makeup on my forehead because that like color difference is jarring. But if you take your makeup up, you just gotta use your bronzer to really blend everything in. So that's what I have to do. So instead of avoiding foundation on my forehead completely, I just keep in mind that I am gonna blend a lot of bronzer on my forehead. Honestly, I think it's a thing of like I need to stop being lazy with my makeup application because I knew the solution. But you guys see, you can't see much of that hyperpigmentation peeking through around my mouth. And what that red color corrector does is it cancels out the darkness and shadows. And now, of course, with our foundation application, we want to make sure everything is blended in nicely. I think it looks pretty good. By the way, I used a foundation brush to apply that. It's just this like angled flat brush. How would your friends describe your personality in 3 words? That's a good question. We're gonna move on to our brows. I'm using the Benefit 24-hour brow setter. This is a mini that I've had in my makeup bag for a long time. I think I got this as a free sample from Sephora, and I never used it because I never thought that I needed brow gel. Like, first of all, I didn't really understand what it was for. Like, I know it holds your eyebrow hairs in place, but I felt like they were fine. They were always in place. But since using this, I realized I love brow gel, and I'm now a brow gel girly. So there's different ways that I've seen people use this. I've seen some people use the bristle, like the brush part, and some people use the flat part. I love that this has a flat side to it. So what we're gonna do is apply the gel. So this part doesn't have to be super neat. You just wanna make sure the product is getting on the brow. And then brush up and then brush over. One thing that I saw somebody do recently was really flatten out the brows with that flat side. And my brows are not done. Like, I really need to do my brows badly. I actually think I'm gonna cut the tail ends off of my brows. Have you guys seen that trend? Now our brows look crazy, but they look laminated. Like, this looks nice. People pay for these brows. So all we're gonna do is take that very top part and just and then do that. Now I never do my brows like this, but I think we're gonna try something new. This is my brow before, and this is the brow after the brow gel. I'm just saying. We're gonna try this on the other side. So if I had to guess how my friends would describe my personality in 3 words, I would say, I'm trying to be honest, like not hype myself up, not unrealistic words, but I would say maybe like safe. I feel like my friends know and feel that I'm pretty risk avoidant, if you ask me. So safe. They would probably say adventurous, but I never consider myself adventurous. But I feel like most people think that because I travel or most people associate just people who travel in general with being adventurous. I like to travel, but I don't think I'm adventurous. I don't know, maybe I am. And the third word would be loyal. I'm big on loyalty. And I do take pride in that. Like, I am a loyal friend. I don't think any friend could ever say that I'm not loyal. Ooh, I'm putting a little too much brow gel, getting too deep in this conversation. Okay, this is our right brow. I got a little distracted. I think I got a little carried away with adding too much product on that brow, but it's okay. I think it'll dry down fine, or we'll fix it later. So I'm using the Anastasia Brow Wiz pencil. This is my longtime favorite. Actually, we don't need the spoolie side. All we need is the pencil side. And I'm using it in the shade Dark Brown. Okay, our next question is, what's your favorite way to start your day? I like to start my day, let's start our brows on the bottom. I like to start my day every single day with a cup of coffee. I am a big coffee lover. By the way, I'm just outlining my brows. I've been watching some YouTube tutorials on how to do good brows, so bear with me, I'm learning too. So yeah, I like to start my day with a nice cup of coffee, no matter where I am. That's whether I'm home, on vacation, visiting someone's house. Like, my day is not started until I have some coffee. Like, it just makes me happy. It makes me look forward to the day. I know it sounds dramatic, but I'm being 100% serious here. Yeah, I just really like coffee. And once I have my coffee, I can start my day. I feel like I can do anything. Okay, my brow looks serious, but I've realized sometimes I do a dramatic brow, and in the long run, like when your makeup is all done, it looks fine. Like, that's how your brows should look. So I did the outline on the bottom half here and then both sides here. So I'm just filling in any sparse areas. Like, this looks kind of crazy to me, but I feel like this is the brow that I see online that I'm like, I want those brows. So that's without and that's with. Just copy the same thing on this side. Next question is, what are your top 3 must-have beauty products? One I'm using right now, definitely Brow Wiz, but I can also say any like Anastasia brow product. I think I've been using Anastasia brow products since like 2016 or 2017, like back when, you know, Instagram was full of makeup tutorials. Like, that's where you went to get your makeup tips. Anastasia ruled Instagram makeup, or I should say makeup Instagram. And Anastasia was the brand to have. It was the brand to use. All of the girlies were using it, like Alyssa Ashley, Jackie Aina. They all had good brows. So I just followed what was happening at the time. I will say I dove in too deep when I first started because I went straight to dip brow. But that taught me, like, I'm not the best at brows, but it taught me how to do brows, period. So my first Anastasia product and the first brow product that I ever owned, because I didn't care about brows at all before then, was dip brow. There was definitely that learning curve, but then I was used to it. I want to say I used it a few times. Like, I would repurchase dip brow. Once I had it down pat, I was using it. And then eventually I was like, I want to try something else, something a little bit easier. Because with dip brow, you have to use like a separate brush and you have to be really careful. Like, that is a, I won't say advanced brow product, but it's like an intermediate brow product. And so I switched to Brow Wiz, and Brow Wiz has been my girl ever since. I have also tried, and I actually have their brow definer, which is also another brow pencil. I like that as well, but Brow Wiz is my go-to. Okay, so brows, to me, these brows look crazy. They look blocky and big, but I think they'll look fine once we're finished with the complete look. Okay, our next question is, what's been your most memorable travel experience and why? So let me preface this by saying I love talking about travel. I love travel. That's like my #1 passion. I love to travel. I have not traveled the world, I will say. I haven't traveled as much as I know plenty of people I'm sure watching this have, but I love to travel. And that's all that matters. Like, I'm not one of those like super finicky, super like strict or super judgmental travelers where like, oh, well, where'd you go? Well, you didn't go here. You didn't go to this super exclusive place. No, even if you've only been to one other country and you enjoy traveling, you can be a travel lover. Like, there's no rules to this stuff. Next thing we're gonna do is conceal. I'm using the Born This Way multi-use sculpting concealer. This is in the shade Butterscotch. This is the shade that I've been using for years. This shade is closest to my skin tone, so that means I don't use it to brighten. I have another one that I use to brighten like my under eyes and stuff. And if you're wondering about my technique, I pretty much just follow what I see the girls do on YouTube and TikTok and Instagram, kind of. So we're gonna do a little dot right here, touching the bridge of our nose. I think that's one thing that I've been missing, is I was doing like the corner and going to the cheek, but we're doing here. We're also gonna do here and a little bit here. This is also running dry, but I already have another one. I have a new one with the same shade, but I want to use that to the last drop. So then we're using a Flawless concealer brush. This is just like a fluffy dome top brush. If you know me, you know that my most memorable, well, I would hope that you would know this, my most memorable travel experience was definitely when I went to Bali. I went to Bali in 2019, so that's about to be 6 years ago. Insane. First of all, it was very memorable because that was the furthest place I had ever traveled to. It still is. And because I went on that trip solo. That was my first ever solo vacation, solo trip. I went completely by myself. I booked everything myself. I went by myself. I just told my family I was going to Bali. The job that I was working at that time was very small. Like, our operations were very small, so we didn't have people to like cover our shifts and all this stuff. When you needed PTO, you needed to have it approved, all this craziness. And that was a government job. So I was still working the job, but I put in for my vacation week. And when I planned for the trip to Bali, I was like, I'm gonna spend as much time there as possible. So the way that the PTO worked was you put in your request of your PTO weeks at the beginning of the year. So I already knew that I wanted to go. However, I was only gonna get that week of work off, and then you have, you know, the weekend before and the weekend after I had off. That wasn't enough time. First of all, to fly to Bali, the 2 flights that I had to take totaled like 23 hours, if I'm not mistaken. And so I wanted to stay there as long as possible. I wanted to see as much as I could in Bali. And yeah, I wanted to stay there for a while. So what I actually ended up doing was I went on a vacation, and as I was at the airport, like about to board the plane, I called out of work that day. I was supposed to be at work. It's kind of funny when I think back on it, but I was young and like it was not that big of a deal. But I was at the airport about to board my plane, and I had to call in and call out of work for that day. At the time I was working in the evening, so I was at the airport like in the afternoon or something. And yeah, I called them and I was like, I'm sick, I can't come in. They were like, okay, no problem. I wasn't like completely blindsiding them. I had told them ahead of time that I was gonna be calling off, but I think I didn't tell them that I was going on vacation. I was just like, I need this extra day, and they were like, okay, well, you can't request it. You have to call us the day of and like call out of work. So that's what I did, and it was fine. The trip to Bali was amazing. I was a little bit scared, but I was at a time of my life that was like crazy. I was going through some things, and yeah, I felt like I just needed that trip. And I will say that that trip transformed my life for the better. It gave me a lot of perspective. It gave me a different outlook on life, and even things that weren't so like dramatic. It gave me a different outlook on travel, on meeting people, on being like content and happy in my solitude, because I was on that trip for, I think my trip was like 8 days long by myself. So, and I had to navigate things, I had to do things in a whole brand new country where I did not know the language. It was tricky, but I managed and it was fine. I was in my 20s at the time. And yeah, it's the most memorable trip that I've ever been on. Like, of course, I wish I could like tell you guys everything, but you know, I wish I could get into super details, but that's not really for, I won't even say not for YouTube. It's not for anyone else because it's my moment of growth. So yeah, that's my most memorable trip, Bali. And I really want to go back to Bali so badly. Like, I felt like that was my like eat, pray, love kind of trip. It wasn't meant to be, but it kind of felt like that. And so I really want to go back. I will eventually go back to Bali. I just don't know when yet. Okay, so this next question is, what's a common misconception that people have about you? I actually don't know. I don't know. I've been told by people before that they thought that I was mean, and it turned out that I wasn't. That's the only thing I could think of, you guys. Like, they thought that I was gonna be mean or rude, and maybe there's people out there that still think that I am mean and or rude. So this is the Born This Way, same concealer that I used previously, but this is in the shade Warm Beige. So this is in a brighter color, and I use that when I want to brighten my under eyes. So I'm just going over the same areas where I put that concealer previously. You guys can see that first concealer, it does brighten a little bit, but it's a little bit yellowy. So we're just gonna go in with a dot there. I should have put less, but and a dot there. And I'm just gonna use the same brush to blend this out. But yeah, I don't really know what misconceptions people have about me. Like I said, I've been told by people before, like people that eventually became my friends, that they thought that I was gonna be stuck up, I guess. I don't know why. Maybe it's my RBF, but everybody has RBF, right? So I'm just blending this out a little bit further down than that first concealer. And this is way brighter, so it shows up on the skin way more. I really need a setting spray, but I have one on the way. Like I said, I have posted a video on TikTok asking people to critique my makeup application, and some people were like, you need a setting spray, like spray in between each step kind of thing, which I've seen people do, but I don't have a setting spray. Never had one, never used one, ever. Never, ever, ever. I've had my makeup professionally done and they used one, but I don't know, I just never felt like I needed one, but clearly I do. So I ordered one a few days ago. It's on its way. It should be here in like the next 3 to 5 days or so. And I will be using the heck out of that one. The one that I ordered is the Milani. It has like a fun, cute name to it, but I can't remember honestly. But the Milani Cosmetics setting spray. So my next makeup video, because I'm going to be doing a video like this again, you'll see me wearing that setting spray. Or if you follow me on TikTok, you'll also see it. So yeah. We are just spreading out this under eye highlight. I actually really like how this looks. I just want to make sure it's not super harsh of a line. I'm a little bit scared when it comes to the dramatic makeup, but I think that's why my makeup, I feel like it needs improvement, is because, you know, I see the other girls do their makeup and it's like, what's the secret? How do they do it? How do they do it? It's because they add a lot of makeup. That's what the makeup is there for. Use it. I feel like that one wasn't as sharp as that one. Just make sure everything is blended out. The texture of my skin is kind of funny in some places. Like under my eyes, I used to always see commercials about like women's skin and, you know, oh, get this cream, get this eye cream, get this skin cream, blah, blah, blah. It'll help with like crepey skin. I'm getting that crepey skin. This is a sign of aging. Here and here, and as well as somewhere on my cheek, like where I said I had that, like what I think might be sun damage. that skin is crepey. I'm like, this is exactly what they were talking about, and now I have it. Never expected that to happen, honestly, but it's happening. So yeah, if you guys have any recommendations, I've been using eye cream like it's nobody's business because I want to take care of my skin as much as I can before we go off to the deep end. So yeah, one thing I will say is I think focusing a lot on that under eye application, like even the amount that I did, I could have done a little bit better. But when I watch videos, I see girls take their time when it comes to doing their under eye concealer and like blending it out and making sure everything looks good. I think that might be something that I need to focus on. So the next thing we're gonna do is our other cream-based products. So this is the Fenty Beauty Matchsticks in Truffle. I actually don't even know if they still sell the matchsticks in this shade. I bought this like, honestly, when like Fenty Beauty first came out, and I use this not every day, but I use it quite often, and look how much product I have left in here. I'm not running low, so I'm just gonna continue to use it until, I don't know, something better comes along. But I really like this as like a contour stick, so we're just gonna go right, I go like kind of on my cheekbone because I want it to be raised up. So I don't really like, I kind of follow the hollows of my cheek, but I go a little bit higher. So like the bottom end of my cheekbone, I would say. And I don't have super defined cheeks, so I don't really know how to explain that well. So now I'm using the contour brush. This is like a slightly angled brush as well. And I actually think I might, maybe by the next time that I do my makeup again, I'm gonna switch what I use to blend my contour because I feel like this is too long. I need something that's a little bit shorter, like actually a lot shorter and more dense, so that it doesn't swish around. Like you guys see how flexible this is because the bristles are on the longer side. We're just gonna take it up as well. But yeah, I feel like if the bristles were a little bit shorter, it would keep everything in the same area because I don't want to move my contour around. I just want to blend it out, but not fully. Like I feel like I might have over blended that a little bit. Let's add a little bit more and keep it in this area. Sometimes I'll just like squeeze the bristles so that they stay more compact. And then you guys see? So it's not super dramatic, but you guys can see that contour. So now we're going to do the same thing on this side, staying as close in this same area as possible, but also kind of taking it up the temple just a little bit. And like I don't mind my contour kind of bleeding into the area where my blush will go because the blush is going to be on top, so it should make for like a good gradient. And yeah, let's add another dot like we did on the other side. And then this one we're just gonna keep in that area. So you guys see, I didn't take it super far down. Like my face is relatively narrow. So if I took my contour down to here, like where you can see it head on, I would look crazy. So I think this is a good look. We're gonna take the same contour and we're gonna do our nose contour. So we are just going to, oh, we need another question. I forgot I'm being interviewed. How do you stay motivated in your personal and professional life? Next, we're gonna contour our nose. Usually I'll take this, the Fenty Matchsticks, and just apply it like this, but I wanna see if I can be a little bit more precise with my application. So I'm using this flat definer brush. It's just a flat, small flat brush. And applying the contour directly to the brush and then kind of carve. Now I watched a video the other day and she was like, kind of touch on your brows and connect it from there. Her look was a little bit dramatic for me, so I'm gonna use a very, very light hand, but I'm still gonna do what she said, which is have it start from my brows. I can kind of see it actually. And I feel like once you start drawing, you can like see the vision, yes. And we're just gonna keep adding product to the brush as we go. So I feel like that is one area where I struggle because my motivation, most days my motivation be shot. I have no motivation to do much of anything some days, whether that's in my personal life or professional life. And yeah, it could be really difficult to like do things. Of course, I have the motivation where I want to better my life. I want to better my personal life, my professional life. I have all these goals, but when it comes to like actually executing some of my goals, that's where I get caught up. So I cannot give you tips. I mean, I can give people tips on how to stay motivated, but I have to be honest in that sometimes I don't stick to the tips. Like, I know I have the tools to do things, I know what I need to do, but sometimes life be lifing and you just don't feel like doing them. Okay, so I was gonna, should we do the line like I've seen some girls do? Let's just do a very slight line. I can see it. And we're gonna come down to here with the flat side of the brush and here. And kind of blend in all of that. And add a little bit concealer, or add a little bit of contour under the nose as well, because that gives a nice shadow. I'm actually liking the way our face is looking so far. Wow. I don't want to go too overboard with the contour, so I'm just gonna blend out the contour that's here, just so it's not that harsh line. Like, I want it to be the shadow, but not super harsh. So we drew the line, and now I'm just blending it out using the same brush under the brow. So yeah, I think our makeup is coming along beautifully so far. But yeah, that's one thing that I do struggle with a lot, is staying motivated. If you guys have any tips, let me know. One way that I do stay motivated is by having an accountability partner. So there's two people that I usually go to be my accountability partner, depending on what I need the motivation and accountability for. One is my sister. She is good at keeping me motivated, reminding me that I have things to do, that I have goals to accomplish. She's so good for that. She just got on me like yesterday. Like, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? I'm like, I'm gonna record a video tomorrow. And where are we today? Recording that video. So shout out to my sister Victoria, Corey Nez. And then the second person is my cousin Marielle Ayele, also on YouTube. So shout out to her new channel. But she's good at keeping me like on track with things, like on a day-by-day basis. Like, we will share a goal that we each will like check in on each day, if that makes sense. So like, I like that depending on the goal that I have or what I need to stay motivated for, I have two people that will fully keep me on track. So shout out to my girls. Okay, our next question is, what's your favorite way to unwind after a busy day? I think that's a fairly like straightforward, simple question. I like to just like sit, decompress. I do like to scroll on social media. Like, if it calls for it, I'll scroll. But I also just like sitting down with like my loved ones and like maybe going over the day, talking about the day, recapping, like that kind of thing. Super simple, but I like just hanging out with people. Like, if there's somebody who I enjoy their company, then yes, I like to just sit down, relax. We can have a little glass of wine, because I do like to unwind with wine. But yeah, it's pretty straightforward, pretty simple. Like, just relax, maybe watch some TV, watch some Netflix. Speaking of Netflix, I just finished Young, Famous, and African the other day. That was a good season. That was a good season. I cannot wait for the next season that they better renew. And next up on my list is Wags to Riches, I think it's called, right? The reality show. Yeah, I'm gonna start that tonight. Actually, I'm gonna start episode 1 of that show tonight. It looks a little juicy. I see everybody talking about it on social media, and I hate that I can't chime in on the conversation. So I'm getting back to it. That's another way that I kind of stay motivated, is I like to watch things. Like, I'm a visual type of person. I like shows, I like movies, I like documentaries, I like watching YouTube videos. Like, that is what keeps me motivated to an extent with YouTube, is watching other YouTube videos. And how I like to unwind is, like I said, watching things, watching TV, watching movies. I think our makeup is coming along beautifully. The next thing that we are going to do is set our under eye. This is the Tower 28 GetSet Blurring Powder, and this is in the shade Palisades Pink. This is the first shade that I had. So yes, this is a pink setting powder. I was a little thrown off when I first got it, because they sent it to me, and I was like, what am I gonna do with a pink setting powder? Like, but but I used it and I now love it. So I actually went and got the other shade as well. The other shade is Hermosa Honey. So it's the same blur and set powder, and this is the Hermosa Honey shade. So I like to use the pink one on my under eyes to keep things bright, and I like to use the Hermosa Honey like here between my brows and like my T-zone area and on my chin when I want to set that. Or what I also use the Hermosa Honey shade for is if my under eyes get a little bit too like bright or too like cool tone, I'll go in with a brown powder like that to warm everything up. So I'm using a beauty blender, a dry beauty blender. Usually I use a velvet puff, but I'm just trying something different today. So I'm picking up quite a bit of makeup. I can't remember if I've used this with a beauty blender, maybe once. I feel like on New Year's Eve I might have used one. So that's what we're doing. And we are just going to pack it on. And as you guys can see, it does not go on pink. It goes on like a translucent powder. And when you're putting a lot, obviously it's not gonna be very translucent. So we're just going where we put that light concealer, as well as a little bit on our nose up to where that contour was. I look insane. And then we're gonna go following that concealer that was on the outer corner of our eyes. We don't need as much powder there though. And of course you can use, you know, the points and everything of the beauty blender to guide you, but that's what we're looking like. So we're just gonna sit that there. So next we're just gonna use our Fenty Beauty Sun Stalk'r bronzer. This is in the shade Coco Naughty. I don't even know if they sell this shade either, you guys. I got my Fenty stuff way back, and I am hitting pan on this one, and it looks a little crazy because just has been through it, but I am hitting pan on this, so it doesn't have a lot of life left in it, but I still love this shade. For the longest, when I first started using this, I was like, it's not really doing anything, and I realized I was not putting enough product. So let that be a testament to how I apply my makeup. We're just gonna apply it where we put that contour. You just gotta be careful with bronzer, especially a bronzer like this, because you don't want things to look too muddy. So we are just going in the same area like I showed, and this is just bringing warmth back to our face, because especially after adding a bunch of products like the powder and everything, that contour kind of gets lost. So you can see the contour because I added the bronzer, and on this side you can still see it. Actually, it looks pretty good, but we're just gonna go over it and with some precision, because again, you don't want it to be too muddy. You're gonna go in that same area, still bringing it up to the temples. This I definitely add to like my temples, and what I started this whole video talking about was adding makeup to my forehead. So I would say, like, you guys can see that demarcation. So the foundation is my shade, but like most people, my forehead is a little bit darker than the rest of my face, and so you have to bring that color back in. So we're gonna put our bronzer not all the way where there's no makeup, but right at that line of demarcation, and blend it downwards so that it's a natural gradient. So yeah, we're just doing this. And with this, you kind of do want it to be like muddy, but you want it to blend nicely into your forehead. And it doesn't matter if you get a little bit of bronzer, you know, like on the main part of your forehead, because it'll still look natural, because our foreheads are darker than the rest of our faces. Of course, you just go in with however much you need. I like to focus the first dabs like more so on the outer corners, like here and here, and then blend everything in, because you don't want to accidentally have way too much bronzer in that center part and like not blend it out. So yeah, you just want to make sure you're blending. See, already that looks better. Again, I did not cover that hyperpigmentation spot, so don't mind that, but that blend looks way better. We're gonna take that same beauty blender that we used earlier. We're gonna take the same pink Palisades powder, and And we're gonna get a little bit of powder on our beauty blender, and we can just carve out the bottom border of our contour. Don't go too far up in the ear because you don't want to miss it. So we're gonna go like right about here and just draw that line. Then we're gonna take some more product and you're gonna focus it near the tip because you need that like line. Okay, and so while that is baking, we're gonna go in with that Hermosa Honey shade. I'm just using the same beauty blender because why not? So we're gonna add it in between our brows here because I tend to get a little bit shiny there. And I'm gonna add a little bit to my chin, just a little bit. Okay, the next question is kind of deep. Like I have the questions increasing in difficulty or depth. So the next question is, how do you think your content has impacted your viewers' lives? Honestly, my first thought was my content probably hasn't impacted my viewers' lives much. But I will say that anything that I watch on YouTube, like I know a lot of people think that YouTube is for like trivial, you know, like fun videos, but there are times where I go to YouTube to learn things, and that information impacts me a lot, especially when I'm going to travel somewhere and I want to watch a bunch of videos before I go, either to learn about the place or to learn about where I'm staying or see if I even want to go or what's the experience like. That does impact me. So I will say that probably my travel content has the most impact in that it teaches people, not saying all of my subscribers, but it teaches people. It educates them, it gives them insight on certain things. I can reference my Cabo vlog, my Cartagena vlog, my Denver vlog. Like these are recent videos from last year, but those definitely impact people. I have people comment on some of my videos asking for like further details or can you tell me about this? Can you tell me about that? So I would say that's how my content impacts my viewers. I'm gonna be really light-handed with the powder here because I don't want a big brown blotch, but I want it to be matte. So you guys see, it completely took away that shine. So it is like really, really matte, but we will dust that away when we dust everything else away. And then I'm gonna take whatever's left on here and just get my chin, just pouncing whatever's left on my nose because it was looking a little shiny. Okay, now I'm gonna take a brush. So I have a powder brush. This is just like a fluffy big brush to just brush your powder away. I am only gonna do, for right now, I'm only gonna do it here in that T-zone because I don't want that to look too cakey. So I'm diffusing it out a little bit so that it blends up with my forehead makeup. But yeah, we're looking good so far. From what I could see in the viewfinder, I'm like, ooh, this is kind of cute. Okay, we're getting to the final stretch, y'all. Ooh, the next question is, what's something you've learned about yourself in the past year? Especially with us being in a new year, I think that's a really good question. Of course, there's a lot of things that I've learned about myself. The number one thing would be that I thrive on a routine. Like if I want to do something and I actually want to get it done, I need the routine. I need it to be planned out. I need structure. I need formality, like all of that. That is where I thrive. That's how I thrive. So the whole like on the fly thing, and I know that about myself. I've already known that I don't like doing things, generally speaking. I don't like spontaneity when it comes to actually accomplishing things. So yeah, I just feel like the reason why I use that as the answer is because in the last year I really see, like I see my highs and I see my lows where I was on a routine and where I wasn't. So the next thing we're gonna do is our blush. Hopefully I don't regret going in this order. I think this is the proper order. So I am using the Juvia's Place liquid blush in the shade Blush Lily. I have to be very careful because this is Juvia's Place blush. If you know, you know, this stuff is potent. So what I do is I apply it to my fingers, I dab it on, and then I go in with my blush brush to like really diffuse it out. We'll see how this goes because this is a really light shade, by the way. Because this is a Valentine's Day look, I figured I want everything to be either red like I'm wearing or pink wasn't really planning on combining the two, but I think it'll be fine. If not, I have another blush here that I might use on top of it. And this is my first time wearing it, you guys. So as you guys can see, this is bright, but it's okay. We are gonna dab it out and then we're gonna blend it out with our fluffy brush. And I'm making sure I keep it on the high points of my cheeks, especially with this being such a bright color. We wanna keep this right where the blush needs to be, nowhere else. So now we're gonna take our brush. And yes, it takes a lot of blending, but it looks good already. I actually think I want more. I think that looks so pretty. And of course, with this little bit on our hand, we can still add more. And don't forget about our blush on our nose. And to think, I was gonna add another blush because I was like, that's gonna be super pink. Like, let me be careful. Let me not go overboard with this bright pink blush. I have like a darker, like berry tone blush that I was gonna use on top, but I really like this. And it's not too in your face. I will say I'm trying to do more like vibrant in your face blush because I do hold back a little with blush because blush can be intimidating, but every time I do my blush I'm like, stop there, that's good. But I really like this. Beautiful. And you guys see how it blends nicely with the contour, so like the contour is still there and then our blush is on top of there, and it looks amazing. Next we're gonna hydrate our lips using the Laneige lip sleeping mask. I should have did this at the start of the video, but I completely forgot, and now my lips are feeling a little dry. While our lips hydrate, let's do our eyes. I told myself I was gonna do a really simple eye look today, so I'm taking a small eyeshadow brush and my Anastasia, I don't know what the shade is called, but it's this brown shade here. It's like a chocolatey brown color. These are the Anastasia Beverly Hills like single eyeshadows that you create your own palette with. And yeah, I just thought that was like genius that they even offer that, because I like palettes, but I never end up using all the colors in a palette. So I'm just adding brown all over my lid. Ooh, what are your long-term personal goals? That's a good question, and I do feel like, honestly, I feel a little bit apprehensive to share them, just because, you know, you're not supposed to share all your goals just all willy-nilly. But I will say some of my personal goals include, like I mentioned earlier, moving, as well as making more money, y'all. Making more money. I feel like that's a lot of people's goals too, and y'all can feel me on that one. I'm just kind of dragging this out a little bit because I don't want it to be super defined. Usually I don't wear eyeshadow like every time I do my makeup. Sometimes I'll just use my bronzer brush, and like with bronzer on it, I'll just go over my entire eyelid area so that it adds a little bit of warmth and color. But this is cute. And then we're just going in the motion of this being like a winged shadow kind of look. So like it's there, but it's not there. And then doing the same thing on the other side. Ooh, how do you stay authentic and true to yourself in a world that's always evolving? Constantly changing is what it says. Honestly, I think with age, you learn, obviously you learn more about yourself, but you also take no more BS. Like, I can only speak for myself, but when I was younger, like, I had a lot of insecurities. I had a lot of doubts in myself, questions about myself, wondering if I'm like good at this or good enough for this and all that. And I will say that, like, looking back, that hindered me from doing a lot of things, trying a lot of things, staying true to who I was, and just getting older and realizing that, you know, life is short to try to be someone else or not show your authentic self or not show your true self, or bending. I think this is the main thing, is like changing and bending your way to conform to what you think other people want you to be or how you think other people want you to show up. And like, no one has ever made me feel that way, but I think just, you know, I'm a person who's very in their head, and so I do think that that guided me a lot, especially when I was younger, when it shouldn't have. And so how I stay true to myself is I just stay true to myself. I don't know, it's just something that I've realized as I get older. You know, now I'm in my 30s, so I don't know, it's like every decade you start to give 1 F less, or maybe like 100 Fs less. Each decade you care less and less. And honestly, it gives me a lot of perspective to, y'all know how like older people, they just be like bugging? I get it. I'm like 10-year-old Olivia, 20-year-old Olivia, and 30-year-old Olivia are completely different people. They present themselves completely differently. And that's one thing that keeps me happy and like excited to age, is just knowing that that's something to look forward to. Like, I'll only get more true to myself. I'll only figure out more things about myself, what I like, what I don't like, what I want to do in life and what I don't want to do in life. And I don't know, I don't mean this in a negative way, but you just start to care less about pleasing others as you get older. And in that, you end up staying more true to yourself. I hope that makes sense. I just realized we didn't conceal our eyebrows. I'm just gonna do a little bit of concealer. I'm using the Born This Way concealer, the one that is closer to my shade. So I'm gonna add the concealer directly to the brush, just so we have a little bit more control. And we are just going to add concealer to this under eye area. I should have did this earlier because it would have blended a whole lot better with the rest of my makeup, but that's okay. Actually, I think it's best that we dab it on like this. And we're just focusing right here at that like brow bone area. Actually could have used way less product. And then we're just gonna blend backwards. Wait, that looks good. Don't mind the cheeks. I know the powder is still there. Okay, the next question is, how do you approach building relationships with others, both personally and professionally? I can't say I'm like the best at building or maintaining relationships. Like, I'm not saying I'm bad at it, but I'm also saying I'm not like the expert at it. That's still something that I work on in my old age. Ooh, I added a little bit too low there, so we're gonna have to blend that out. I'm just gonna take what's left on the brush to the top of the brows, still on the tail end, just a little bit, and then we'll blend it all out. And I think most people, like, you don't just, oh yeah, I'm the best at building relationships and I have no work to do on myself, you know, like no inner work. I think that's something that we all continuously need to and will always need to work on, just like bettering our relationships with people. But yeah, I don't know, I try to show up as best as I can. It is something that I will say I'm not perfect at. I'm just using the small eyeshadow brush, the one that we applied the eyeshadow with, to blend this better. So yeah, I try to show up as best as I can, which I can admit is not perfect, but it's what I can do at any given time. Like, I don't know. I am a person who enjoys my own company, and I think that makes it hard for me to really like want to like do simple things. I'm talking about like hanging out, going out and things like that. Like, honestly, half the time I just want to stay home, and not because, oh, I'm just an introvert like that. Like sometimes I don't know, I just don't want to go out. But then at the same time, I know that I do. But that's something that's always been like kind of an internal conflict in me, is that I want to go out, I want to meet people, I want to build relationships, I want to maintain the relationships that I already have, like with my friends and family. But then the other side of me is like, I'm fine. And I think a lot of people get trapped in that, like, I'm fine, I'm good with my one friend, my two friends. And like, I don't know, not saying that I have the best relationships with everybody that I know, but I am one person who is always open to building new relationships, making new friends. If somebody wants to expand, like grow a relationship with me, like I'm not a shut off person. I think that's what I'm trying to get to. I'm not a shut off person. I know a lot of people who are like, oh, I already knew this person and now they're trying to talk to me and be friends and da 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 da, and I don't want to do that. Like I've never been that type of person. I'm like and this might be to my detriment, I'm like an open, kind of a revolving door. Is that a bad thing? Not a doormat, but I'm like a revolving door where like we can be cool at one point in life and we can cool off and go our separate ways. And if I run into you, or I don't know, if we stay in touch on social media or something, I'm fine with catching up. I'm fine with rebuilding our friendship that we had. You know, it'll be something new, but I'm fine with rekindling our friendship. I think a lot of people aren't like that. So yeah, I do think that that is a good quality that I have, but I don't know, other people might disagree. So I think that's how and I understand this is like a lazy kind of approach, but that's how I build and maintain my relationships, is I am open to communication, to rebuilding friendships and relationships. I'm open to it all. Like I'm here for it. I don't know, it hasn't backfired on me yet. I'm just gonna add a little bit of black eyeshadow using this angled eyeshadow brush. So I did this the other day and really liked it. I really liked it. So I'm just adding black eyeshadow to this brush. I'm not gonna do liquid liner. That is my go-to. That's been my go-to for years, but I'm trying new things. So we are just going to add this. I'm gonna start with the wing, and I love this brush because the angle of it and everything just makes it super easy. And I like using the shadow because it doesn't have to be super neat. So we can just kind of stamp that on and then come back on the lid with it. And now it doesn't have to be super perfect or defined. We're just gonna smudge this out because I actually didn't want a wing at all. So just smudge it back into that brown eyeshadow. We're gonna take some brown back on here because we have a lot of black. The more we smoke it out, the better it'll look. I think we need a light shade, but I'll get to that after. Okay, so I am picking up a little bit of black, but we're being a little bit more careful and just doing the same thing over here on this eye. We're just gonna keep blending. Actually, I have an eyeshadow, yes, tapered blending brush. See, this is where these brushes come in handy. So I'm gonna let's actually take the setting powder because it's a lighter brown. We're gonna take that Hermosa Honey. I know this is a setting blur powder, but we're just gonna take some on this tapered blending brush. I'm gonna dab a little bit here where that wing is ending, and a little bit on this side where that wing is ending, and we're gonna blend it in. It's looking better already. It was a little too dramatic with just that black eyeshadow there, so we're using this tapered blending brush to really smooth things out. Yes, this is looking better already. Blending is the key to makeup. Like, you want things to look like a gradient, everything. No harsh lines unless you're doing like, you know, eyeliner, like liquid eyeliner. Okay, so the next thing I'm gonna do is just dust away this powder here on our cheeks. This is that powder brush with no product on it. So we're just brushing that away. Don't forget the other side. And don't forget your nose, because we did have some powder on the sides of our nose. There have been times where I forget to dust off like powder from somewhere, or I forget to blend something that I was supposed to blend. The powder that was on our cheeks, I feel like it's soaked in perfectly. It looks really good. So we actually don't have to go in too much with that powder brush. The next thing that I want to use, something that I'm really excited to use actually. How do you define success for yourself, both personally and professionally? We're getting deep, y'all. We're getting deep. Before I answer that question, I got this new Unicos lower eyelash stamp with ultra fine eyeliner, and I'm about to use it. So the first thing I'm gonna do actually is I'm gonna put my mascara on my top lashes. So I'm just using a Fenty Beauty mascara. I don't know what this is called. It's some kind of volumizing full potential mascara, because I don't have lashes on and I didn't feel like doing lashes, and I feel like every look doesn't require lashes. Although the last time I did my makeup, and just in general recent times that I've done my makeup, I look at myself and I'm like, I think I want to start getting into lashes for real, like wear lashes on a consistent basis, because I know I just said every look doesn't need lashes, but sometimes I'll be feeling like a naked mole rat with no lashes. But obviously, if I wanted a more va-va-voom look, I would do lashes. How do I define success for myself, both personally and professionally? I think that's an ever-evolving thing. Like, how success looks for me is always changing. Sometimes it's that I have a better job or more money, or sometimes it's that I'm living where I want to live, or it's that I have a trip planned. I'm going on vacation soon. Sometimes that's like success, or I'm on vacation, like, oh, I really did this, or like just accomplishing goals, whether that's like a smaller kind of daily goal or a long-term goal. It always looks different for me, I've realized. So defining success is a little bit difficult. I can even compare it kind of to like defining happiness. There are times where I'm like, when will I feel happiness? You know, like happiness. But happiness feels differently depending on the stage of life that I'm in or what I'm doing. It can look way differently. Like, my definition of success from 10 years ago is completely different than my definition of success today. So I can't really like, just happiness. And again, that's in that moment. Whatever in that moment I decide is what happiness looks like, that is what success looks like to me. So yeah, it could change day to day. It definitely does change day to day. These questions are getting deep. So I came across this lower eyelash stamp that I really want to try. Saw it on TikTok, I ordered it, and I haven't used it yet. I was waiting until the next time that I did my makeup. So let's see how it goes. I saw a video of a girl using it and I was like, that is genius. If it's really that easy to make your eyelashes look like that, your bottom lashes look like that, sign me up. Okay, so it comes in this little case. This is what it looks like. So it comes with a left stamp, a right stamp, and the stamp ink pad in black. And it also has an eyeliner. I'm not going to use the eyeliner today because I am not doing a liquid liner. Like, I'm not doing a wing liner. But I'm excited to use the stamp. How to use: distinguish the left and right seal. Hopefully we don't mess up our makeup with this. Okay, so here's the stamp ink pad. It just smells like ink. It smells like makeup. It smells like liquid eyeliner. And then here is our stamp. So if this is for the left, oh yeah, that makes sense. So we're gonna stamp it like this. I'm nervous. Okay, so it says press it. Did it say 4 times? 1, 2, 3, 4. The ink is on there. Okay, it says do it quickly. Don't let it dry. I need to go under my lashes. Oh no, I think it dried. Wait. That's cute. I will say I did have to do like 2 dips, like 2 stamps. Okay, let's put the cover back on. Actually, it's not gonna dry out, but that is gorgeous. Okay, let's do the right eye now. So the right eye also comes, but it's on this like shorter thing because it's like the lid to the liquid liner, but we're just gonna leave it short. I don't think I need the full thing. So clean end of the right eye stamp. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh yeah, I think we're getting better. See, but now I did 2 stamps on this eye and 1 on this eye, so I feel like this one doesn't look as dark, heavy. So even though it says not to do 2 stamps, we're still gonna do 2 stamps. What do you guys think? This would be really nice for like dramatic or like anime makeup. I love this. I'm like astonished. It gives me that doe eye look. Like this bottom lash stamp completely changed my makeup look. Let me go in with some bottom liner to like really pull it all together. Okay, so this is with bottom liner and this is without. Definitely a difference. I like it with. Like it adds the cutest little pop of like doe eyes. Like I feel like you could really get away with a nice like 1960s like twiggy look. Like especially if you have the right top lashes. Okay, let's do our lips. I forgot about our lips. We have to do our lips. Okay, so I'm keeping it super basic. I was between doing a pink lip or a red lip. What do y'all think? Regardless, I'm gonna line my lips with this brown liner. This is by Davis. I got it for Christmas. I have a bunch of colors, and actually I was gonna do a colorful liner kind of situation today, but it's a lip liner and eyeliner, so you can use it for either one. But the brown, color number 2, I've been using this as a lip liner and I really like it. I feel like it's the perfect like consistency or formula because it lets me get a really defined lip. Usually I was using my Sephora collection like gel pencil liner and I liked that, but it's almost too creamy, so it didn't really give me a defined line. This gives me a defined line to where I've started overlining my lips for the very first time because this could do it, and I like it. It gives me like a whole different look. I'm gonna do it now. So how I overline my lips is I have a kind of a defined upper lip, like, you know, where your Cupid's bow is. So the high point of that side and the high point of that side, I just draw a line like kind of curved up but straight across, and that completely, like when I fill it in, it completely gets rid of the sharp line. Now, I'm not saying I don't like my Cupid's bow. I like the way my lips are shaped, but it's fun to like play around and try something new. So look. So you just draw the line. I look crazy, but you just draw the line straight across and then fill it in a little and like gradually fade it out. So now you can't see like the sharp point. And so what I've been doing is I actually don't take the liner all the way to the corners of my mouth because it's just unnecessary. And this is pretty dark, but this works for this look. But I do kind of do a little bit on the bottom lip, but not fully. Look. And now I have this super defined, at least to me, this is super defined lip look. This is the Sephora lip liner that I was talking about. I'm actually going to fill in the rest of my lips like a little bit more with this brown because it's not as dark. So just going from there. This is more of like a chocolatey brown. So that now we have that like baddie lip liner look. And now I'm gonna take my Anastasia Beverly Hills liquid lipstick. This is in the shade Dusty Rose. I've used this before. I love First of all, as you guys can see, I love Anastasia products, but their lip products are also really, really good. Okay, so before I put this on, the next question is, what's a passion or interest that you have that might surprise your viewers? I don't want to get too deep with this question, but one of the interests that I have is that I really like to watch true crime. Like, true crime here on YouTube is amazing. The videos are so good. The documentaries and stuff. I watch 48 Hours, but I also watch like those interrogation videos and stuff. I watch all of those. There's the EWU one, like EWU something. I think it's EWU Interrogations. And there's also Midwest Safety. The only reason I know the channel names is because I just had like a whole watch session yesterday. And there's a few other ones that, like, if it has a good title and the thumbnail catches my attention, I'm watching it. Those videos are like 30 minutes, an hour, sometimes a little bit over an hour. I love them so much. Of course, a lot of them I feel bad for people, but they're just so interesting. Like, I'd be watching some gory stuff, some sad stuff. I don't know, I just like true crime. I understand it's not everybody's cup of tea, but it's mine. I also like watching documentaries like on Netflix, like the more produced ones, but the YouTube ones, they really get to it, and I really love watching those. I know it's kind of controversial. Like, a lot of people are completely against true crime. Let me not dry out my lipstick. A lot of people are against true crime videos and documentaries and things like that. I completely understand it, but it's just something that I like to watch. The other thing that I like to watch, just because it just popped in my head, is like urban exploration. So we're just adding a little bit to our lips, focusing mainly on the center. And this is a very pink color, so I'm just gonna dab it out with my finger. So yeah, urban exploration videos, like where those white boys be going to the abandoned buildings and stuff. Or like Dead Mall, urban exploration, all of that. I love watching videos like that. Even the scary kind of ones, like they go to like closed down hospitals and hotels and department stores. I love the mall ones. I love the movie theater ones. Yeah, we're just trying to blend this pink color into that brown, and like actually we kind of want to go over the brown. I just find them super interesting, and like a lot of those urban exploration videos make me feel super nostalgic, especially when they visit places that were like abandoned from the early 2000s, or some from the 90s, but the early 2000s stuff, where I'm like, I could just tell, like from the architecture, from the decor and everything, I could tell that that's from like my childhood. I think that's why I like them so much. Ooh, also the house, like when there's abandoned houses, I like those too. We're just gonna add another layer. Okay, I'm gonna see if I could get this a little bit more pink and less purple. So I'm using this Sephora collection. I don't even know what this is called because it's all rubbed off, but it's like a lipstick in the shade Rosé. This is real pink. So we just keep dabbing our lips, and then I'm gonna blend this out a little bit on the edges. Now I do have a lip brush. I don't know why I didn't use it, but I definitely like the way that this looks now. And then should we top it with lip gloss? For today's look, to look very juicy, we're using the Lancôme Juicy Tubes. I love this lip gloss. It's actually, I keep this in my purse, and I have this in the sparkly version, but I don't use it because I want to get through this one first before I move to that one. So we're just going to add that on there. It's funny because I've never really been a lip gloss girl. Like, I use lip gloss and stuff, but not like some people. Every time I get my makeup done professionally for like a wedding, when I'm like a bridesmaid, they always use lip gloss, and they always use a lot. And I always like how it turns out. I think we're done here, you guys. I'm really loving how this makeup look turned out. Let's answer one more question before we go. If you could give your younger self a piece of advice, what would it be? Only one? I would say stay focused on your goals to the point that you actually follow through with your goals. There are a lot of goals that I had when I was younger, even goals that I've had yesterday, but just generally, like, there are a lot of goals that I set that I'm kind of quick to abandon, just gonna be honest, just because things aren't going as I thought they would, or they're not progressing as fast as I thought they would. Just, there's many different reasons, but my piece of advice would be to follow through with your goals almost no matter what. But I would give myself a little bit of leeway, but generally speaking, yeah, go through with your goals no matter what, accomplish them, and then reevaluate and figure out where you want to go from there. But don't just abandon your goals. Don't give up on your goals and the things that you want, because you wanted them for a reason. You had them in your mind. You made those goals. You set those goals because you knew that you wanted to achieve them. So yeah, don't abandon them. Let's take our headband off. But yeah, you guys, this is the final look. I hope you guys enjoyed getting to know me a little bit better, as well as walking through this gorgeous, if I do say so myself, gorgeous makeup look. And I hope you're somewhat impressed by this makeup look I was able to pull off. I'm no makeup artist by any means, and yeah, I'm just a girl having fun playing in her makeup, doing girly things. As far as my channel goes, I will be back with the weekly vlogs. Think of this as like the introduction to 2025. So a week from now, I will have posted my first official weekly vlog of 2025, and we are just gonna take it from there. I am super excited to be back full throttle. If there are any other topics that you guys want to see me talk about or tackle, let me know, whether that's in my vlogs or in a sit-down video like this, because I really like this format of video. So I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.
She's the kind of girl you wanna marry, the kind of girl you walk the whole earth for. Put her on your back and just carry. Her attitude is hotter than the earth's core. When she's around, nothing else matters. Untouchable, she's got her own force field. Sooner or later, someone will get at her. If I don't, someone else will. When love you